Please welcome Stefan Krauss.
Hey, thank you. It's so great to be back in Orlando at Sapphire. 3 years, a long time. Warm welcome. Thank you for joining our session today. And also, of course, a warm welcome to the SAP family on the virtual Sapphire session as well. So our session is about transform for a more resilient and innovative business. Needless to say, this is also, of course, about sustainability. SAP's purpose from the beginning was to really take, on the one hand side, the business needs, the business requirements we hear, of course, from the market, and combine it with new technologies to really have valuable solutions for our customers. And of course, we are doing this together with our partners. So I think there's no better session to have a customer and a partner with me on stage. So please welcome with me on stage Peggy Gulick. She is the Director of Business Transformation Operations and Smart Factory at Kohler. And very remarkable to say, she was conducted to the Women in Manufacturing Hall of Fame last year. So a real expert in manufacturing. And I will have with me on stage Oliver Steil. He's the CEO of TeamViewer. TeamViewer is a fantastic global provider of remote connectivity as well as workplace digitalization solutions. And of course, they are a great partner of us when it comes to industry cloud solutions. So please welcome with me on stage Peggy and Oliver. So, I think when we look across all sectors, many companies are really, dealing with business transformation. But on top of that, I think there's a lot of, things going on in the world, like, climate change, the COVID pandemic, but also the kind of shift of political and economic power. So I think customers need to follow this, big changes we see in the market and adapt accordingly, which is not an easy term. But to put it bluntly, I think there is no way to stand still. There is always the need to keep moving. And you can always say, you can go for, kind of perfect plan, but you never know what is around the corner. So you need to be flexible and agile on, adapting your business. And maybe, Peggy, let's have a look on how Kohler is dealing with this.
Agree. Thanks, Stefan. I'm really excited to be here with you and Oliver. So I work at Kohler, and I would say we embrace the connected intelligence that everyone's seeking right now. Really looking at it as a way to reimagine and everything. So I have operations, but supply chain, the customer experience, and even our profit and revenue streams are included in that. So we have over 60 plants globally in kitchen and bath and power and engine. And we're making sure that those plants have the ability to collect data and visualize, to really connect and control and orchestrate, so digital execution systems, and then ultimately predict and prescribe. So there's the investment that comes back into that drives a lot of onerous back onto my team to make sure that the architecture can release insights in a timely manner, right, from past, present to future data, that our data resilience and security are prepared and ready and always safe, and that's required some modernization of our infrastructure, and then finally to build the right team, and that's really where we've been focused for the last year.
Thank you.
And I think the good thing is that by now, I think the technology is really available to drive this digital transformation. I think even if you are an industrial company and you have a manufacturing footprint, warehousing, field services, so really complex processes where people touch goods and time-critical events where people need to be very, very, very well educated, you are now in a situation where technology is available. We provide, for example, as TeamViewer, we provide remote operations technology. And we also provide augmented reality. And I think that's a very good example where over the last years, technology has evolved, hardware has evolved, but more importantly, the software has evolved. And now you can really take different business processes, different workflows, and enable them by augmented reality. So effectively along the whole product cycle, right? You can look at the product development, you can look at manufacturing. So if you make products at the assembly line, you can help workers to perform their task in a better way. You can then, in logistics, where you move all the goods, you can support the logistics workers in the warehouse, in the distribution center, to send them to the right places and give them instructions and make them much faster and more efficient. If you do that, we have example where you have 15% time savings and more efficiency in these distribution centers, which in an industrial environment I think is huge. It's a big saving. Or you can go all the way also to maintenance and after-sales support, where you send technician into the field. Typically, they need to know what to do, or you rely on partners that do the service and the maintenance, and you need to educate them, and you help them by augmented reality features so that they know exactly what needs to be done. So this is all there. You can pick a process. You can pick the process that generates the biggest value for you as a company, and then you keep adding to this, because there is value in incremental changes. I think we've all gone through the dream of big digital transformations all in one go, and that's difficult, but you can really do it step by step. I think the only thing you don't want, you don't want isolated solutions per process step or per workflow, which then don't work together with your backend system. And I think that's where the partnership comes into play, where we do the integration with the SAP Industry Cloud to make sure whatever you have as your ERP system already, where all your data sits, this is very well connected to augmented reality and to the frontline worker, and that opens enormous opportunities.
Great. So I think when we talk about digital transformation or to transform something, I think it's always good to know where to start with. So basically, companies should somehow make sure they have their current status, which means understanding the data of your company. And I think we all know there are a huge amount of data sources nowadays. And it's really the art to make something with the data. So I think data intelligence, or also what we are saying very often, from insights to action, is, I think, a crucial, prerequisite to really go through this transformation phase.
I cannot agree more. So, my company now, Kohler, and my last company, AGCO, which I know I was introduced with and used a lot of the same tools, both knew that technology wasn't a choice, right? It's a fundamental business strategy. And it's the only way we're going to be able to drive the value to our customers as we move forward, and then rethink the technology and the talent that we have in our workforces. So, I think once you understand that data is that common denominator, you can use tools like Oliver was talking to. And I think there's one piece, Oliver, that I had that the personalization is a level also that comes into those great tools, right? So each person needs to get exactly what they need for the level of talent that they're at in the exact position, product, or whatever that they're working on, right? And we have learned through that process that personalization has been critical to rolling these awesome technologies out to our floors. That common denominator really, too, we look at from inside and outside, right? So strategy down, goals up, and then as far as you can see in that supply chain, right? So that data is a common denominator throughout that entire process. But agree, I think the tools are spectacular and meant to be personalized, so we can always give the right information at the right time to the right person in the job that they're doing at that time.
Super. So Oliver, I think you brought a video with you to really underline what we are talking about here. So let's maybe roll the video.
So what you see there, while we're looking at the video, I think, is you see how we connect with augmented reality solutions. We connect to the back-end system. So we connect actually where the intelligence of a company sits, where the workflows are created, where the data is residing. We take these back-end systems and the data that sits there, and bring this data to the frontline worker. So we have different examples, of course, in different industries here, which I also mentioned before. So you get the data to the frontline worker, and that means you can enable the frontline worker to work in very different ways, and also to prescript much better what the task is that he or she should perform. So you have, the worker would have step-by-step instructions in front of their eyes. There's workflows which are modeled, you see that here, based on the data that is sitting in the backend system. And then the other good thing is it's a two-way channel. So you get information to the worker performs the task. Obviously, there is significant improvement potential there, faster, less errors. The worker is just safer in what he's doing or he or she is doing. But then there is the back channel, because you also collect the data of how the task is performed. You see whether the task is performed in the right way. You have check marks, quality check marks, which then creates an audit trail, a record, which goes back into your back-end system. So you suddenly, rather than have a manual process, a workflow which involves maybe paper or a display on the side, and a not straight-through process to your back-end system, suddenly all of that is one process, which makes it incredibly powerful, creates learnings, makes the employee better, and of course also over time makes the company better, because while you collect all this data, you can use AI in the back end to improve your workflows even more, I think, which is then getting into this continuous improvement in a space where frontline workers are involved, which is, I think, very, very important. And we started to integrate that with the field service management of SAP. We then went to service and asset management. And I think yesterday or so we included that in the extended warehouse management, because it's really going process step by process step or product lifecycle step by lifecycle step, and that will allow you as customers to actually go step by step forward anywhere you want to take it.
Thank you, Oliver. And I think this is a perfect example of the idea of industry cloud, where we want to simplify really the access for our customers for innovative vertical solutions for really many sectors and industries around the world. And again, here, I think it's for us equally important to say which of those applications are coming from our partners, which one do we build ourselves as SAP, and really bring here value to our customers. So I think that's really a nice example, and thank you for this partnership here. I think that's really cool. Now, Peggy, over to you.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting that augmenting our humans is the focus here, right? 5 years ago, all these projects, the leaders wanted headcount reductions to validate why those projects were happening. No longer, right? We're all in an area where we can't get people quickly enough and at the level that we need to bring in from the technological piece. So I think it's really fun to listen to, because we need to evolve our employees, right? They're not disappearing. We need to evolve them with this whole process, and that's a continuous workflow. That really, we're competing now with Silicon Valley for humans to come in and actually work on some of the machines and the things that we're putting into play. But I really believe that augmentation of people and the upskilling that's happening within our organizations is for the best of even the broader than our industry, right? For what some of that talent is.
I completely agree. I think the paradigm has significantly changed. There's always an efficiency gain, and there's always, I think, somewhat of a reduction potential across the whole life cycle of value chain. Okay, given. But the potential, if you upskill your workers, your frontline workers properly, is significantly higher, right? Because we have an aging population, we have shortage of skills, as you said. And the other striking number is that, and I think that's maybe surprising, is we all know and we all work in the office, and we are over-IT'd, I would almost say, and over-apped since decades now. So we know how to work with technology, and it's all targeted to us. But the majority of the workforce globally, 80% of the workforce, is actually non-office workers. So the next frontier of optimization is actually people that are out there in the field, touching goods in very, very high-quality activities. And that's 80% of the workforce. 2.5 billion workers globally are non-office. And we see that across all industries. I think that's the common theme really now. that companies start to care much more about that part of the workforce and not about the headquarters so much.
Agree, and I have to add one more thing to that, just on a really quick note. I was asked, I've been really doing sort of disruptive thinking since about 2013, and one of the questions used to come in, well, yeah, I can see why the younger workforce would be really excited about all this technology. And something I have learned, and it has not changed no matter what plant I walk into, is no person goes to work every day to do their job poorly. So to be honest, the people that really respect the technology more than the younger workers are the workers that want to do their job right and haven't been given the right tools until now to do their job well. And it's amazing to me. We had people would come off the floor and talk to touring groups coming through to show them, if they were using a wearable technology or a pad that had information on it that made them better at their job. And nobody comes in to do their job poorly. So it's spectacular to watch the generations, the aging generations in our industry also find great value in these tools.
Yeah, and then there's a second dimension of it. So the upskilling of people is one thing, and the job satisfaction and the likes. And then there is, the ability with all the technology to drive new business models, right? I mean, industrial companies, OEMs, discrete manufacturing customers, they need to think about the ways how they can evolve their business as well, right? This is all a tight margin business. There's a lot of innovation going on. There's pressure from all sides. And the ability to increase the connection to their customers, to run more services, what we call servitization, so more after-sales services, really scaling up what they do, increasing the experience to increase customer loyalty in the B2B space is a very important topic as well. And that's all possible because you have the data flowing from different sides. You can remotely connect. You can have other service provider and using your knowledge from the back-end system on AR glasses to really work on this. And that's opens up a hell lot of new opportunities. Even in consumer, we now have customers that think about having immersive after-sales services using AR, where then the end customer would pay for the service, and it's not a cost center anymore, but it's actually a profit center.
Nice.
Yeah. I think it's good for the people, but it's also good for the sustainability to close the loop, because with augmented reality and remote services, I think there's less travel. You can have the experts in the headquarters supporting the world. So I think it's good for many things. Let me wrap up our session, as I think 20 minutes are really flying by. What is the biggest misconceptions I think we see when we talk about business transformation? And maybe, Peggy, if you want to start?
Yeah. So digital transformation is not a silver bullet that happens, right, by setting up a department of digital leaders and all the way on down, right? I mean, let's face it, we're building on a legacy of data control issues and cultures that are not expert in these new technologies and sometimes resistant to change. And really, we haven't built in an agile, innovative organization, right? That's all part of the culture side. So, but I think the really critical piece is you have to start where you are, like yesterday, right? I mean, this is not something that we can wait till we're perfect and our infrastructure is perfect and our architecture is perfect. There's value that comes, and we're using some of TeamViewer's tools right now for remote assistance. We're using them for digital work instructions. We're using them for some visual control in our new product area. And we're also, at the same time that we have all this really new technology, we're making sure that our SAP systems are standardized in all of our plants so we can easily come in and put these things down. But we're not doing that before the other, right? We have to continue on the path and keep the innovation coming in and solving problems and driving value as we're working on all those other core pieces that we have reasons not to start.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it's the misconception is that it's all about technology. I mean, technology is an important part of that, but I can tell you already years back, we had large customers that have all the money to afford the kind of complete technology stack, and still the innovation pace wasn't there. And then you have other companies that spend significantly less or are smaller, but they have this innovation mindset. And I think fundamentally, you have to carry your people along. You have to invest in your people.
Yeah.
I think it helps significantly for digital transformation if you are very lean, not many hierarchies, very collaborative culture. I think that brings up the best in people to think through what new technologies can do. And then you need to carry them along, and you also have to have solutions which are, if I may say, which people want. So if you look at our solution, I always think suddenly a frontline worker has glasses, which is cool, and it's voice recognition, there's instructions, it's touch, there's gamification elements, you can do micro trainings. And if you have that, and then if you then involve the stakeholders early and talk to workers' council, unions, the people themselves, and you show them how actually at your workplace, the way they work is actually mirroring what they now experience in their private life. I think that's an important point. Yeah. They're used to using technology in their private life, and then they see, oh, here's a cool kid now at work. Then they like it, and then they engage, and then good things happen. And I think that's what we need to focus more and more, rather than only technology stack and back office, which they cannot relate to.
No, it is the people.
Yeah, and maybe on top, don't think and act in silos. In my opinion, it's becoming more and more relevant that companies work really across their different lines of business, but even more important, that they really work in their entire ecosystem tightly together. And this is what we call at SAP the business networks. I think Etosha was talking about it this morning, and we see more and more really companies reaching out to us and saying, how can we really optimize all the business processes across companies and automate this more and get away basically from point-to-point solution. I think that's the next big thing, because no company can really master all the challenges we see in the market by itself. So I think the collaboration is key to success. With that, I hopefully didn't overpromise. You know, it's fantastic to have a customer, a partner, and SAP on stage. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, Peggy. Thank you very much, Oliver. It was really great to have you with us.
Thanks, Stefan.
Thank you.
For the Mercedes EQ Formula E team, partnerships with SAP and TeamViewer are critical to success both on and off the track.
Guys, we need more energy regen on braking.
Understood. Boxes slap, please. Boxes slap, confirm.
Okay, Laney, we need to optimize the regen and the braking.
With TeamViewer Frontline X Assist integration, you can easily connect to a remote expert directly from within the SAP Field Service Management dashboard.
Let's get a second opinion. Let's talk to Albie back at the factory.
Smart glasses enable on-site technicians to work hands-free and share the task at hand directly with the remote expert through the camera.
Okay, I've got a visual on the car. Walk me through the issue, Stoffel.
TeamViewer Frontline X Assist makes everything possible with real-time, peer-to-peer augmented reality support that documents directly into SAP Field Service Management.